Bears Fan Podcast, episode 97. Been about almost 2 years now. We're almost at 10K subscribers, so like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Um, Bears, once again, uneventful. I know it's been about a week, um, but the holidays got things move along. But the Bears go out and put on a stinker, maybe the worst game of the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not even just the holidays and I mean, what could we have possibly have talked about that game? It was just 6-3, a home, shit game on Thursday Night Football, another nationally televised game. Um, the entire, United States got to see how inept we are in every aspect. It's we're a national embarrassment at this point. Um, Nothing good has come of this. Caleb had a horrible game. Uh, the entire team, offense, defense, horrible game.
I guess the defense was
It's
that bad. They
just,
only gave up six.
I mean, it's just, there's no positives. You can't really
Yes.
spin anything into a positive nowadays. It's just, it's getting more and more depressing as the year goes on. And, this upcoming week, we have Green Bay, last game of the season. They're playing for seeding, so because they're not locked into a seed, I don't think.
Yeah,
So
they said LaFleur said the starters are playing. So
yeah, they're not locked into seeding. So it's in Green Bay. It's going to be another ass whooping. I just, I mean, the only positives we can talk about right now are looking forward to free agency, the draft, and speculation on who the next head coach is going to be. So if you want
guess
to start off with that, go right ahead.
yeah, I guess with the coach, yeah. I mean, even the off season, like I'm always off. Love the off season. I mean, we're real sports fans, so off season is a fun part. But like the issues the Bears have, I just don't think will be solved in an off season unless like we just get the perfect coach. Like you were talking about last week, we need at least three guys on the offensive line, um, and we need a whole new culture. We need two more guys on the D line. Probably need a wide receiver at some point. Like we don't know who we're going to be losing. It's just like all bad.
Well,
But coaching wise, like you said, a couple of things came out. Ben Johnson's interested in the job. That's been on and off. There was reported the McCaskey said that they want Poles to handle the coaching search. I don't know how true that is or not. And then one other report that I saw it a couple places so I didn't want to talk about it because I thought it was bullshit. But it said that Poles is not a fan of Ben Johnson for some of the reasons you were saying the last week and the week before that Paul or Ben Johnson's got a friend that's an assistant GM somewhere in some front office that he really likes, and Poles might be afraid that Ben Johnson will push him out of the job.
yeah, and you know what though, and here's what I say to that: if you're gonna allow Ryan Poles to make this coaching hire, and he's gonna be afraid to hire a guy because he's afraid he's gonna lose his job, then he shouldn't be making the fucking decision in the first place. Um, so that whole thing is twofold. Um, you know, it's just it's frustrating because here we are again in the same fucking cycle we've had for the last 2 decades now. Um, if they don't extend him and he picks a head coach, he's a lame duck GM going into the year. They have a bad year, he gets fired. Bring in another GM. I like when is it going to stop? Regardless of who the coach is, right? If you have Ryan Poles pick this head coach, then just extend him. Just extend him. I don't want to go through this again next year. It like
I agree, and I like this is my qualm about it all last year, and I won't. It just goes back to the whole decision that was made. I just thought if you were going to keep Eberflus, should have kept Justin, and then if this season went bad, off with all of their heads. I understand that Caleb was supposed to be this generational talent, and he isn't half bad. I'm going to do my best to not bash on him because he's pretty mediocre, and for a rookie, we all know that's good.
yeah.
Um, but like you said, there's going to be no continuity. And I just felt like what I said last year. The next year. There's always another fucking guy who's supposed to be. You gotta have him. So I wasn't worried about never being able to get a good quarterback prospect. And I just thought that like you're going to keep your Flus, keep Poles, keep Justin. And if they couldn't get it right to the point where you were comfortable extending Justin, you fire him, fuck it all. Um, and you go in the draft, and you know what I mean. Maybe you pick up Justin's fifth-year option just to fucking let him be the starter on the last year and start your regime. But now, like you said, we're going to get a new coach, 100%. If they don't extend polls, like you said, they're in a weird spot where now they get to blame somebody for the bad season, and it'll be polls. And then just like I said, no continuity, and I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
what we're
just
gonna do.
it's wash, rinse, repeat. You take a look at Ryan Pace, John Fox, Matt Nagy, Jerry Angelo. You know what I'm saying? It's just on and on and on and on. And honestly, it's frustrating. There's some reports out there about Brian Flores being high up on the Bears list. I like Brian Flores
I do.
to get a second opportunity somewhere, just not in Chicago for me personally. I like Brian Flores. I do. I think he's going to make a good coach. But here's my problem on all of this, and this is just my personal opinion on the Bears head coaching aspect. Okay, you need an offensive guy, whether it be Ben Johnson, whether it be Liam Cohen, whether it be Joe Brady. Okay, you need an offensive head coach. You need an offensive head coach who's going to be an offensive play caller, because you don't want an offensive coordinator going away after a year or two, getting hired away and stuff like that. You don't necessarily need a defensive head coach. Okay, as much shit as we're talking about the defense right now, they're still 12th in the league in points given up. You know what I'm saying?
With
So
a
you have
terrible offense that can't move the ball, so they're on the
exactly.
field way too much.
You have some players. You just need somebody. A good defensive coordinator is easier to find than a good offensive coordinator.
That I
And
agree, because there's so many failed head coaches.
yeah, and that's just fact.
Robert Salah's
So
out there. I would be very happy if we ended up with him as our defensive coordinator.
and I know you talk about culture and everything a lot. And here's my thing too on culture. Okay, every losing team, if you lose, culture's bad. If you win, culture's good. So I don't care who the fuck the offense or the head coach is for the Bears. If you're winning, if you're a winning football team, everything's gravy. Culture's good. So get Ben Johnson in
I
here.
don't know
Get
if that's
Liam
true.
Cohen in here. It is true.
It's
Get
like the
Joe Brady in
49ers, they're
here.
losing right now. Do they have a bad culture?
The 1 year
Yeah,
out of
1 year. Kyle Shanahan's had I think two or three losing seasons.
not in San Francisco.
Yeah, at least two. They drafted in the top 10 1 year.
It's
So what I'm saying is, like, I agree with you somewhat, but you can have
losing.
good culture and have a bad
I'm sorry.
season.
Let me rephrase. Losing a lot.
Yes, that part, yes. Oh no, I agree. It goes hand in hand. When you win, culture will go.
So
Again,
I don't care. I don't care who the coach is. It's got to be an offensive guy. I'm so tired of this leader of men narrative
I don't know. I
bullshit.
think I'm a fan of leader man.
I don't care anymore. I
The
want
guy you like is on a team with the leader of men.
I
How do
get
you
that,
know?
but
How do you know Ben Johnson would be good on another team? Dan Campbell's a leader,
I
and he
don't
gives
care.
Ben Johnson
I
the
don't
freedom to do
care.
weird
I don't
shit.
care. Though you know what I care about? I care about Caleb Williams and his development.
I think
That's the only thing. That's the only thing
we
I
did
care
that this
about right
year.
now. It's the only thing I
I think
care
that's
about
a
right
bad
now.
thing to only care about, because
It's
we got to
not.
win games.
I understand that, but you're not going to win. You're not going to win games with lame duck quarterback play. You have to have a guy that can come in here and settle in with Caleb Williams, build a rapport with Caleb Williams, and grow with Caleb Williams. That's how you're going to win football games. The offense has been so bad for so long, and now
I
your
think
defense
that's
is
the
starting to
part
follow
where the
suit.
Bears fans want a good offense, but I think there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I don't think it's only on making sure Caleb's a superhero, and that's like there's like is Sean McDermott. He's a defensive coach, right?
Yeah, but
Like
Sean McDermott's also had a line. He knows how to make good hires in terms of offensive coordinators.
again, and that's where
say
I'm
that.
saying you could get a good, like, I don't know
But
who you hire, who he brings with him. I'm just saying, like, there's plenty of good defensive coaches, and I feel like Ben Johnson. I think people give him a lot of credit. He does great. But let's say if he was the offensive coordinator for the fucking Patriots with Bill Belichick, he wouldn't be letting them do hook and ladders and tackle passes. Like, Dan Campbell being the head coach gives him that freedom to do that, because he's going to fall on the sword going for it on fourth down. Like, who's making that call? Dan Campbell. And then he looks great when he makes the, you know what I mean? They get the fourth down. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I think it is culture. You can't just come in and have a bunch of fancy plays and we're going to win games. Like, I don't know if that works. Like,
no, and here's the thing, Sean. We can argue about it back and forth. Nobody really knows. This head coaching thing is going to be a toss up anyway.
yeah.
But
And the guy's got to buy in too. And that's a part of it with all this. Again, another one of my fears is, like, the guys talk good shit. And even you said they're professionals. this and that. The change of quarterbacks isn't going to matter. And I don't know what it is, but we all can agree we watched it. The team's vibes were off. I don't know if it was Waldron or losing Justin or Eberflus being a lame duck coach. I don't know what it was, but it was clear as day the vibes of the team were just off. They played a little harder last year. They were a little nastier. The press conferences were way different, even when we were losing. Like they just seemed so dejected this year. Like didn't care. Aloof. DJ Moore was saying weird shit, not going all out. And I mean, we didn't have a great season last year, and I don't remember everybody just being so negative. So I just want to get somebody in there where everybody's going to buy in. If that is Ben Johnson, then so be it. I don't. I just as many like you can point to all these guys who are good in the NFL right now who are offensive coaches, and it worked. But there's just as many who failed, who found their face, and we like to pretend like we didn't try and go get the cool offensive guy. Like we did Nagy, it didn't work. I guess
It's not the same. I don't know how many times I have to bring everybody keeps going to the Matt
Mark
Nagy thing.
Trestman.
That's not the same. Mark Trestman was a fucking head coach in the Canadian Football
Well, I'm just saying,
League.
like he was offensive coordinator in the NFL, though, who was really good that people liked.
But he wasn't the hot offensive coordinator.
Wasn't
and
it was the greatest show on turf, right?
Stop comparing Ben Johnson to Matt Nagy.
Well, there's no. So what? We're just going to say he's a unicorn that he can't be compared to. You can only compare him to the good guys. We're going to say, oh,
no, I'm not saying that at all. I'm
Like,
not saying that at all.
Who can we compare him to?
Talking about the guys, we should be comparing them to the guys that got head coaching jobs who called plays for 3 years. Matt Nagy didn't call plays in Kansas City. That was fucking Andy Reid.
Okay, I'm sure. Josh McDaniels.
What about Josh McDaniels?
He called plays for 3 years and was great. Won Super Bowls and he
had Tom
twice.
fucking Brady.
Okay.
Ben Johnson's doing it with Jared Goff.
Jared Goff was the number 2 picks and been to a Super Bowl before that.
He was the number 1 overall pick.
Oh, number 1 overall. Sorry.
Everybody wrote him off. Liam Cohen's doing it with fucking Baker Mayfield.
Baker was a number 1 overall pick. He got written off, but that doesn't mean he wasn't good.
There's a difference between those quarterbacks and Tom fucking Brady.
I would say coaching and the team they were
Josh
on.
McDaniels was the offensive play caller everywhere else he went. Okay, yeah. And here's the thing: Josh McDaniels may have been a terrible head coach, but you know what? He still has a fucking playoff win as a head coach.
Okay, yeah, but what I'm saying, he got fired and replaced. I mean, are we gonna? If what if he's Josh McDaniels and sucks as a head coach? I'm just saying, like, we're not only
wins a playoff game.
I mean, we could have won a playoff game with Eberflus if we would have got the shit together,
but we didn't even fucking make it, so we can't even say that. And here's the thing with Josh McDaniels. I will say this about Josh McDaniels: didn't like him as a head coach. He did have a big hand in drafting Tim Tebow with the 24th overall pick in that draft. But my whole thing is this: we need to figure this out. Monday comes. What's today? Today, as of right now, it's Thursday. Black Monday is like 4 days away. We are going to find out if Ryan Poles is fired. He's fired on Monday. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If he's extended, we'll probably hear that news here pretty soon as well. The interviews here's the thing too. Mike Vrabel's contract as a
Browns consultant.
Yeah, it's expired already. So why haven't they already had him in the building to talk to him? What are they waiting for? You know what I'm saying?
Johnson. Like, I think they're all in. Is it a
short list? Is a show like how many?
I'm assuming they're thinking what you're thinking, and I'm not saying it's crazy to believe. I just I don't know. My concern is again, we already wasted this season. I think if we get an offensive coach, unless we get some veteran really good defensive coordinator or somebody with some head coaching experience to help him along this process, we're going to have a shitty year next year, not make the playoffs. Well, and I think somebody like Mike Vrabel or Brian Flores might be jumping. And yes, it might not be the best for Caleb's growth going forward, but it might be the best for the Chicago Bears to be a successful winning football team next year.
If Ben Johnson could bring on Robert Saleh, would you be on board?
Yes, 100%. If we get Ben Johnson and Robert Saleh, I'll be 100% ecstatic with that. I think Robert Saleh is a great defensive coordinator. He's probably not going anywhere for at least a half a decade because nobody's going to want him. He had such a bad run on the Jets, unless we're crazy good. And I think maybe with Ben Johnson and some of these guys, the problem is and I said this a couple weeks ago, not only do our coordinators suck, we don't even hire good quarterback coaches, wide receiver coaches. I'm these guys who learn from the Ben Johnson, what's going to happen in Detroit? Ben Johnson's going to go somewhere else. His fucking quarterback coach is going to step in. and try and replicate what at least Ben Johnson did. But like you're not hiring the right guys who are sponging and getting this information. Like we saw the Shanahan tree, all the guys who worked for Kyle Shanahan and his dad, and got jobs other places because they were learning. They all run similar styles of offense because they saw what worked. They were smart guys, and it's like that's what we're not doing. We're not getting the right people in the building, and that's why we're so worried that oh no, if we get a defensive coach and we have a really good offensive coordinator, he's going to leave. Well, if we get a really good quarterback coach to pair with him, then he'll be the fucking offensive coordinator after them. And then you hire a good one, an assist, his next assistant. You make sure you make it a point that they're grooming their replacement in the process. And like I said, that's why we're just so dysfunctional where this shit never works. And we just keep getting new regime after new regime. And we needed some stability. And I'm afraid we're not going to get it because one week we're hearing Warren wants to help with the head coaching church. Next week we're McCaskey's want Poles to do it. Poles doesn't like the candidate that everybody in the NFL fucking wants. He doesn't like him. He's worried about his job. How much that's true, I don't know. I saw it in a couple of different places, and it's just like this is going to be a huge soap opera, and we've got work to do. We don't have time to be worrying about the coach and the GM. We need to be getting free agents. The stability and continuity is what we need to get the free agents. This is a big market. We should be able to pull a free agent or two on defense, on offense. Like it shouldn't be hard. Like it's not like we're in fucking Cleveland. Like Chicago's a great place to come. People love you if you're good. We've gotten good free agents defensive most of the part in the past, but we have to figure something out. And it's like we need O-line. I don't know if we're going to be able to address it. I'm worried that what the fuck are we going to do? We kind of stuck with the guys we got. Like maybe one falls in our lap and we're drafting at 9 or whatever the fuck we're at. Like
yeah, the trenches are extremely important. And here's what I'm seeing. I have this weird feeling that and this goes into the whole Ryan Poles thing, right? Say you get 3 offensive linemen in free agency, right? You get a defensive lineman in free agency as well to pair opposite Montez Sweat. I have this feeling that he's going to try to outsmart the room and he's going to draft Ashton GT with the.
I think I've been saying it a lot. If that happens, awful.
I have this just gut wrenching feeling that that's going to happen.
I don't know if it's Genty, but I have a feeling too he's going to do something.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if he are again.
Well, it's not a good quarterback draft. This draft, it's really not. It's really not a good.
I don't know. I think
draft.
a lot of people like Shedeur. I don't know but after him,
it's offense and defensive linemen heavy. You know what I'm saying? So if your top guys are off the board at 9 in terms of offensive linemen, and you know because Ryan Poles is big on his value, right? Yeah. If they don't see anybody fit, it's either trade down. You're not taking a wide receiver at 9 again.
Yeah, I don't know. If he's got Jancy rated that high, like what running back would you have? Like what was the last running back when the Times had Bijan? He ain't Bijan. And then before, like,
and then Gibbs went 12.
Yeah, Gibbs went 12, and that was like, I guess it
very
looked like
controversial.
They looked mad geniuses in the end, but it was very controversial. I don't know. I like Jancy, but I just think we have more problems than that. I think there's bargain running backs you can get that would be fine. I think Swift is okay if you pair him with somebody who's going to be
what about Schetto? What about Schetto or Schetto?
I like Schetto. I mean, if it's like a second or third round, I'd like somebody like that.
State.
I think that kid is somebody. I like his attitude, and we could use some. Like I said, we don't have an identity anymore, and we grew up in the era like we were after the '85 Bears, and not so much the bad news Bears, but you knew like you were coming to Bears, you were going to get a certain style of football. It's going to be a tough game, and now it's like we're a laughing stock. We haven't beaten the fucking Packers in like what has it been like fucking
10 years?
Yeah, I was going to say almost 10 years.
Yeah, like, it's been a while.
And we had an Aaron Rodgers excuse for a while, but I mean,
Matt Nagy beat him once.
Yeah, and Jordan Love is decent, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he's going to the Hall of Fame. We have no excuses. It's like now the Lions are taking a step. I mean, they got Sam Darnold now. I didn't realize how good Sam Darnold's numbers were. Like,
yeah, dude, I've been saying it all. I've been saying it all season long.
And it's like they got JJ McCarthy on the bench. Like, is he getting traded? Like, they're not going anywhere.
They're saying that Minnesota could possibly get 2 1s for JJ McCarthy.
Could you
imagine that? Could you imagine drafting a quarterback at 12 and then not even playing him, and then the following year getting 2 first-round picks for said draft pick. That's
I'm a big
insane.
I'm a big fan of JJ, and I also am a big Michigan fan. But I think he's got it. That kid is a winner, and I think if I'm them, I don't depending on what Sam Darnold wants. I mean, I'll just roll with JJ because I don't know if he would match this season Sam Darnold did his first season as a starter, but I think eventually with Kevin O'Connell, who's a great coach, I think they'll be fine. And they got Justin Jefferson, and man, it's and like I said, the Packers aren't going anywhere. They're young. Lions aren't going anywhere. They're young. Um, and we're 5-10 steps behind them, and they enjoy putting their foot on our neck. And the Packers, like you said, it's been a decade, and even when we were down bad, I mean, last year I guess the Vikings were hurt too, but like we beat the Detroit once, like now they're a laughing stock, and I want that to end, and that's why I want somebody like a Vrabel or I mean, even like John Gruden at this point. I know you were talking about him, like, and just somebody who's gonna like get it in these fucking guys' head that we're the Chicago Bears. Like we play harder than this. Like losing is one thing, but like getting embarrassed, like we can't run the ball, we can't do shit. And Caleb does have some promise, and I'm like I said, I'm done bashing him. He's our quarterback, but I mean, there's a lot of room for
At
everybody
least
to
for the
grow.
next 4 years.
And again to bring up Caleb, he came out and said he did a press conference and he fell on the sword. He took a lot of blame for the sacks. He said it was a lot on him. He said he didn't like people coming for the O line. Obviously, we're not in the rooms. Also, we're so used to it. But going around, I was looking at PFF and things like that, and it said the Bears O line wasn't that bad comparatively. And I would argue with people about this because we're Bears fans. We watch the Bears game beginning to end every week. So we're seeing this, but it's like I don't watch the Jaguars play beginning to end. I don't watch it a second time. I don't watch the highlights. So I don't know how bad the Jacksonville Jaguars O line is or another team.
Caleb also is historically bad this year as a rookie in pressure to sack ratio. I mean, he's almost double what the other rookies like Jaden Daniels and Drake May are. Bo Nix is the top rookie quarterback in terms of pressure to sack ratio, and he's like 7th lowest in the entire league.
Yeah, he's
Jaden Daniels is 22nd. Drake May is 23rd, and you know how I feel about Drake May. Drake May was always my number one coming into this year anyway. But Caleb is like historically bad at like 47%. You know what I'm saying? And that's because he's running back. He's trying
to. He doesn't want to throw
the
ball away. That was we were talking about that the other day, the last couple weeks ago. Like I think he threw the ball away for the first time like 2 weeks ago. Like he never throws the ball away. He always does that shit where he runs backwards and he's shuffling down the sideline. He has some decent escapability, but that shit don't work in the NFL. It really doesn't. It works in college, but those DNs and linebackers are better athletes than you, Caleb. He is a good athlete, and it's just a testament to how good the players are in the NFL. And like that shit don't work. He's got nice up on the ball. He's still very inaccurate down the field, which is
the deep ball accuracy concerns me a little bit.
Yes. So it's a lot. Roma Dunze not getting a lot. I mean, I'm looking at his stats. He had 50 catches, like 650, 700 yards, nothing crazy. This is my concern again. We drafted a guy in the top 10. He's the 4th fucking option on the team, and we missed out. Like I get to beat on the drum. It's like Jared Verse is having a great year for a rookie at the end. Dallas Turner's having a great year. And those are the guys I wanted because, again, I don't know if that would solve our problem. It'll fucking help. You know what I mean? Create a sack fumble, something. The sack or pressure turns into interceptions. And again, that's how we play football. And I think we got too locked in on this has to work for Caleb.
Well, I think this was also an indictment on Ryan Poles because the Pro Bowl names were released today. In the 3 years that Ryan Poles has been the GM of the Chicago Bears building this roster, he only has 1 Pro Bowler in 3 years, and that was Jalen Johnson.
Jalen Johnson wasn't last year?
Nope.
Oh, yeah. He was.
And 0 All-Pros.
He traded away his only All-Pro.
0 All-Pros and 1 Pro Bowler in 3 years. That's a fireable offense in its own right.
Especially too because it's like a half fan vote too, right? Like or third or something. It's like
you had 2 All Pros he traded away. He traded away Khalil Mack and Roquan. Both of those guys were all pros.
The Mac one I didn't really hold against them.
I understood the Mac
Yeah,
one,
the Mac,
but
and we got
again,
good value, I thought too.
yeah, but that's one of those things too that we're talking about. If we're talking about all the positives of Ryan Poles, and I know you bring this up all the time, you gotta bring up the negatives,
Yeah. Well,
and
I just don't think that one was a negative. Yeah.
that's a huge negative.
Yeah.
Is
The no
one
Pro
Pro
Bowls. Yeah.
Bowler
Yeah.
and zero All
And he didn't
Pros.
draft him either. It's not even his Pro Bowler.
Nope.
So
No, it is
really
not.
has none. That's the old regime. One of the few guys you kept. It's just like mistake after mistake after mistake, and we're blinded by that great trade. Justin was breaking Mike Vick records, and we were just all. I think there was optimism, and now that that's all gone, and it just like you said, you can look back and a lot of these polls moves, like the Chase Claypool one, looks horrible now. I mean, Keenan Allen had a decent year; it just don't make no sense if
The
you're going to
Nate
draft.
Davis signing.
Yes, if you're gonna draft Roma Dunze, the Keenan Allen signing just doesn't make sense to me. Like because you're stunting Roma Dunze's growth, you're stunting the chemistry being built between Caleb and Roma Dunze for a guy that like what do we have? At best case, we have him one more year. It's like just not smart stuff, and I know like we obviously made the show for a reason, but it's like you're supposed to know better than us. Like this seems like common sense stuff, and you keep missing out on opportunities to draft blue chip players at certain times where we're not going to get those opportunities again. We're going to get one more this year, but we need a tackle, we need an interior lineman, and we need a good one. Like I don't know if our second they'll got maybe we can get a decent center or guard in the second round, but we're not getting a good tackle who's going to come in and be better than Braxton Jones. So we're going to have to run it back with Braxton Jones, who isn't terrible, but he's not an anchor out there. I think if we could get an anchor, we might be able to kick him down to guard, and I think he's a good football player. I just don't think he can handle an elite pass rusher on the edge.
Let's take a look real quick before the end here. I want to take a look at some guards and tackles that are due to be free agents this upcoming free agency here. It looks like guard or tackle wise, I saw a couple here. La 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 la. Tight end, no. Offensive tackles. All right. So Ronnie Staley. I don't think Baltimore lets him go.
No, I don't think so either. I know he's the number one, but he ain't going.
Garrett Bowles. I don't
He's
think
not going
Denver lets him go.
No, they got Bo Nix on a rookie deal. He's not going. They're not letting him go.
Alaric Jackson from the Rams. I don't even know who that is. Tyron Smith from the Jets. Maybe.
I don't think he's better than Braxton Jones right now.
Cam Robinson from the Vikings.
He's okay.
Morgan Moses from the Jets. Wills Jr. from the Browns, Walker Little from Jacksonville, and Trent Brown from the Bengals. And that Trent Brown was, I think, the one that we had. No, that was Orlando Brown Jr.
Yeah.
Interior offensive line, Zach Martin's probably retiring. Trey Smith from the Chiefs.
I don't think they let him go.
I don't know if they have any more money.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see that too.
James Daniels.
Yes.
He's the third ranked interior offensive lineman due to be a free agent.
2 years ago, when we started this, I said I didn't like him not keeping James Daniels.
Mekhi Becton from the Eagles. That's a name I wouldn't mind.
But he's like a backup now, right? The Jets traded him. They didn't want him or cut him, right? They just cut him.
Will Freese, Kevin Zeitler, Aaron Banks. I'll tell you what, though. If Ben Johnson is the head coach, that Kevin Zeitler might be a possibility.
I was going to say I would be fine with Zeitler. A lot of those guys, I don't think maybe Trey Smith, but the Chiefs are good at what they do. People make concessions. Who knows? Kels might, if they win again, Kels might retire.
Yeah.
Andy Reid probably going to retire.
Well, even retired players still get money. That money still counts against your books on the salary cap.
Does it really? I thought it went away.
No, it does not go away.
You don't owe him anymore. Like you don't have to pay him if he retires.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
So why wouldn't anybody just retire after they signed a 10-year deal?
Because they still want to play. They still play for the love of the game. They still pay you.
Like Deshaun Watson, why wouldn't he retire?
Because Deshaun Watson's an idiot.
I don't like Ronnie Staley's definitely not going to go out there. I think Zeitler might be something we can look at, maybe Cam Robinson, but I don't think any of those guys are much better than Braxton Jones, if better than him at all. Like if it's not going to be Ronnie Staley, I just think we're going to end up. But this goes to like He's whiffed on the left tackle from Princeton or Yale. He drafted Torrey Taylor, who again, I mean, you tried to defend him moving at the beginning, so did I, but just a waste of a pick. We could have gotten somebody another project who could have been on the bench learning and growing and building. Um, and we missed out on again McGlinchey. He's looking a lot better in the Broncos when they're playing good. Just and I don't know if we're going to have another offseason where any of these guys are going to be fucking available. So we're going to have to, and is Ben Johnson good at coaching the O line? I mean, he was blessed with a very good offensive line. I think they got 3 first-round picks on their own, and one of them was like a top 10 pick. So we'll see. Like I said, this coaching pick is going to be probably the most important in Bears history. I know a lot of people are pounding on the table for Ben Johnson. I'm not. I don't think he's a bad coach, and I don't think he'll do a bad job per se. I don't think we go to the playoffs next year if Ben Johnson. I don't know. I'm not saying I don't think Caleb will take steps forward. I don't say we could look better than we look this year. I just for whatever reason I'm not confident that first time head coach Ben Johnson, unless he got like I said, if he got Robert Saleh, yeah, maybe, but I don't know. But,
Well, now it's just a wait and see game. Like
yeah,
I
wait
said,
and see one more week.
Black Monday is in 4 days, man. We're gonna
Yeah,
find out
but
pretty quick.
But like Ben Johnson and Cohen and all of them can't interview till what like
The week before the Super
semifinals.
Bowl.
Yeah, so that's what I'm assuming we're waiting. Like you said, they haven't interviewed Rivera or Vrabel yet, which is weird. Like, I mean, even if you don't plan on hiring them, just like for practice, like a practice fucking interview to know what you're going to do when Ben Johnson comes, when Liam Cohen comes, when Joe, like, again, it's like, why are we thinking of this stuff? Like, they don't have anybody in the building who's telling them, like, hey, why don't we talk to Ron Vera? Like, maybe talk to him. What if like none of those? What if Cohen, Brady, and fucking Ben Johnson don't want to come to the Bears? Like we should at least be
Here's the
talking
thing.
to this guy. Like
We talked about Pete Carroll. There was reports out there saying that the Bears do want to talk to Pete Carroll, even if it is just to talk to Pete Carroll. Why aren't you doing that right now? He was in Chicago on Thursday.
Didn't Vrabel just get hired as a consultant? Maybe like, hey Pete, we don't want to necessarily go. You want to come be a consultant? You want to come help work in the front office somewhere? Like
he's teaching at USC.
Like, yeah, it's like because USC's smart and they let them stick around because they're smart. The Bears don't let any of these legends stick around, give them bullshit jobs or anything like that. It's like for me, it's like I'm not saying hire Ron Rivera. I'm just saying like he was great for us when he played, when he coached. He's
I wonder if Olin Kreutz
coach.
wants to get. I wonder if Olin Kreutz wants to get into coaching. I would love to have a coach come in and then just be like, "Hey, Olin Kreutz is our new offensive line coach." I would be okay with that.
Like, what could hurt us? Like, who has been like we talk down the O line a lot, but I guess they're middle of the pack. But it's like we haven't had a great O line coach in decades. Not like no player we've ever drafted outside of Kreutz like got any better. Like we didn't fucking build any. Like we always just have a middle of the pack or worse O line with a bunch of plug and play guys.
Kreutz was good. He's he'll be a future Hall of Famer at some point. At least I would think. Roberto Garza wasn't all that bad.
Yeah.
Dude. I'm like drawing blanks.
I mean, we had some good guys, Chris Williams, Kareem, like who were okay, but like they were highly touted guys and they never got any better. They weren't Pro Bowls or nothing. They're just serviceable NFL offensive linemen. Like we need to figure something out because we need our identity back. We're not gonna fucking be nasty on defense. At least we could like have somebody fucking coach up this O line. But yeah, that was like I said, most we're gonna run through. There's nothing to talk about. The Packers are gonna kick our asses this weekend. Maybe the Bears will come out with some heart and end the season off strong, but do we really even want them to win? At this point. Guess it would be nice to get one on the board if they've got all the starters playing, but I just don't see it happening. We're so dysfunctional. Thomas Brown doesn't know what the hell he's doing. I was looking at a metric he scored. We'll be at 3 last week. We've 17, 12, and 10. We're averaging like 11 points a game since he took over.
Here's the thing, though, Sean. Real quick, I want your opinion on this. Do you even want Caleb to play? Do you run the risk of throwing him out there and him, getting hurt or season's over? There's nothing to play for. You know what I'm saying? Do you throw him out there or do you shut him down?
I don't know. I have a hard time with this because I harp on the guys in the bowl games, but then when they do play, I'm like, why the hell is Travis Hunter playing? I don't know. I think if the Packers are playing their starters, then yeah. At this point, if you weren't going to give Tyson Bagent a look, why now? But it would suck to see him get hurt. And uh, but I mean, you get hurt in practice, so I'm not a huge fan of sit out games. I guess it's your point. There's nothing to play for now. He can't even break the record. I guess he would break. I did see he would be the first Bears quarterback to not miss a game an entire season in like the last like 15 years. So I guess that's something I don't know. But I guess we play one more game, so he basically already broke the record.
Yeah, since
But
Cutler in '09.
yeah, so well, I don't know. I would say no. I want to see him play. I think he needs the reps. I think the team needs the reps. I think Adunze needs to be out there. Um, and I want to see if these
I'd
guys
say
are
play
still.
everybody except for Caleb. If he's already taken a beating this year. You know what I'm saying? Like 60, what was it? What is it? 60 something sacks he's
Yeah,
had this year. You know what I'm saying? He's already gotten his ass whooped. He's proven that he's a warrior in terms of maybe play him the first half. If the game's out of reach by the second half, you
put
guys are
Page
done.
in. Yeah, yeah, we'll see. And I think hopefully somebody lights a fire to these guys. But all right, quick one. Like, follow, subscribe. Please keep it up. We're almost to 10K subscribers. That's what I really want to get to. We're almost to our 100th episode. We've been doing this for about 2 years now, almost. And we appreciate everybody's been watching. And we'll see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week.
Adios.
Adios.